Hey y'all, what's up? This is Akira. I'm back with another episode of my thoughts, and this episode will be covering the group Mindless Behavior. You guys know, if you guys have heard of Mindless Behavior, they were once a four-member boy band group. There used to be Prodigy, Rock Royal, Ray Ray, and Princeton, but now it's three of them. So we have Princeton, EJ, and Mike. Yeah, so let's get to it. Mindless Behavior. I've been a long time fan of Mindless Behavior. I've always thought like they're very talented. And it's been a minute since Mindless Behavior had put out new music, and I know recently they put out their new single called "I Want That," and I saw people's reaction to the video and whatnot. And I also saw the video when it first premiered, and I like it. I mean, they're growing up. I mean, they're mature. I mean, they're not in their teenage years anymore. They're not like 13 and 15 anymore. They're like, would say Princeton. I think Princeton may be like 19 or 20. I gotta look back, but I know they're in the stages of becoming young men. And you know, we've all watched Mindless Behavior as a young teenage boy band group. And you know, just like all boy band groups or all girl band groups or solo artists, they have the right to grow and they have the right to evolve as artists, because you know, if you don't grow and evolve as an artist, like, you're not going to get anywhere, or you'll be stuck in one box, which I don't think that's the case with Mindless Behavior. And I understand, like, I know some Mindless Behavior fans, like, they grew up with them because, you know, when they first started out, they were like 13 and 14 years old. But now they're young men, and they're getting ready to release a new album called Official MB, which is expected to be released in June of this June of next month. So it's supposed to be released on June the 24th, which I will be getting it. And yeah, so for those who haven't kept up with Mindless Behavior or are not huge Mindless Behavior fans, that's fine, because like I said before, like, you know, people, like I said, have the right to like who they like, and you know, everybody has different tastes in music. So but yeah, I'm gonna just get right to like jump in and say, like, Mindless Behavior, I think Mindless Behavior, they have potential to be one of the best boy band groups of their generation, because we've noticed, and of course throughout history and throughout the years, we've seen, you know, popular boy band groups. We've heard them, we've seen them, you know, get together and be successful and stay relevant. And we see them going through changes and adjustments, and some group members, they part ways, you know, going, you know, doing solo acts or doing solo music and whatnot. Like, for example, I know I grew up on the Jacksons. Like, I'm a huge Jackson 5, the Jacksons, Michael Jackson fan. Like, I grew up on the Jacksons. And I know the Jacksons, first, it was five of them, because it was Michael, Randy. No, actually, Randy, he didn't. My bad. Randy, he wasn't in the group until later. But you know, the original Jacksons, it was Michael, Jermaine, Tito, Jackie, and Marlon. So it was five original group members, and of course, they went through their changes and, you know, things like that. But at the end of the day, people know them as, they will always be known as the Jacksons. And Michael Jackson, he will always be known as one of the Jacksons. You know, even though Michael did go do solo and he did do solo work, he will always be forever known as, when he started in the game, he was in the boy band group, the Jacksons. So, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, Mindless Behavior, you know, they're getting ready to, you know, release their new material, and I'm looking forward to it. I think that, you know, they deserve to have another shot, because it's like nowadays, as I said before, it's just rare. It's rare that we have the talent, and it's rare for people to see rare artists come in the game and do what they're supposed to do. And I think Mindless Behavior, people, I noticed that even over the time they took a break, people was like, you know, what they're gonna do, or are they not gonna, you know, be a group anymore, or are they still doing the music thing? And at first, when this all started, like, okay, before, for people that haven't known of Mindless Behavior, I'll give I'll give y'all back down memory lane when I said the original group members: Prodigy, Rock Royal, Ray Ray, and Princeton. And it was 4 of them. And the 4 of them, like I said, they had chemistry. You know, I know Mindless Behavior's hit records. I know everybody knows My Girl, Mrs. Right. That's one of those records that really propelled them to be where they, you know, were at the time, because Mrs. Right, I remember seeing the video and how they was like in the classroom together and they was at school, and LL Cool J, who was like the teacher, so he was like in there, and they had featured this rapper named Lil Twist, so he was in it. So I remember like radio stations, like I would be in the car and I'd be hearing that song, I'm like, wait a minute, who are those? Like, who are those kids? Or who are those cats? Like, who are they? Those young gentlemen. I was like, that record's dope. And it was like Mrs. Right, and he was like Mindless Behavior. And I was like, oh, okay. And the thing about Mindless Behavior, I mean, they had their own swag. It was something very unique and very like, they were like your mind. I mean, I don't like, well, the comparisons to Mindless Behavior, because I know some people had compared them to like B2K. And like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I grew up with B2K, and I like some B2K songs. I had the B2K Greatest Hits album still in my little collection box. So yeah, so people compared them to like B2K, and you know, they compared them to like New Edition and a little bit of like that flavor, that persona. But I really like Mindless Behavior. I think, you know, when they came out with the original group members, they just had their own swag. It was something about them. They just was just edgy and fresh and fly. They were like young gentlemen. And I really like how they talked about being yourself and expressing yourself, and it's okay to be different. And that was their whole movement. It was like the MB movement. That was the name of the movement. It was like, I know it was like the Mindless Behavior movement, MB movement. And that's when, you know, Mindless Behavior fans, they were so into that movement because they talked about being yourself and it's okay to be different, be creative, and I really liked it. I personally, I mean, I know things happen like boy band groups, you know, they come and go, but I really was like, for them to have that much chemistry, I was like, I think those guys are going to last in the industry for a while, or hell, a long time. So we got Mrs. Right, another single, Girls Talking About. Girls Talking About is one of my favorite Mindless Behavior songs. Like, the video itself is creative. I like it gives you that like pop, kind of like that pop, and you got the R&B, and then you got the hip hop flavor to it. So when you see Girls Talking About, I saw how the chemistry of them dancing, because they can dance like a mother. They can dance, like they're so talented. Like in the dancing department, I was like, whoa, those young men, they're talented. Like they can dance and, you know, do all that, you know. And so it's like that video itself was really was one of those memorable videos. Like, okay, you know, this is who Mindless Behavior is. Then we'll get to their other hits, well, their other known song, Hello, when they I think it was kind of like a little storytelling, like a Romeo Juliet, like kind of like plot. Like, I know Tisha Campbell Martin, she played as Gina, and Martin, like we all know and love, like Gina and Martin, yeah, that Gina. So Tisha Campbell Martin, she played as Prodigy's mom in the storytelling. Like, it was like more like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. You know, Prodigy, you know, he wanted to go to a party and meet up with this girl that he liked. So it was kind of like a teenage love affair thing. It was like, okay, cool, you know. And then Mindless Behavior, I know they already I know they booked stages. I know they already have like went on tour with like Justin Bieber and Janet Jackson. So they were on a roll. Like those guys, they were on a roll. Like I saw them, like I said, getting to that momentum on their way to, you know, expand, you know. And so I saw that. And then let's get into when they had I want to say the Scream Tour. I know they did the Scream Tour, but I think the Scream Tour, I don't know, was it before they put out the second album or after they put out the second album? I'm not for sure, but I know they headlined a Scream Tour. So those that's a memorable like moment for them to headline the Scream tour, and it was like, okay, Mindless Behavior, they're doing something right. So that was good. You know, they was just, like I said, you know, kept promoting themselves. And then when I know they put out 2 albums. They put out the debut album, Number One Girl. I had that album, and they also put out the second album, All Around the World, and I had those 2 albums too. So Mindless Behavior, pretty much, they was on a roll. Like the 4 of them, they was like really, really getting their feet wet. Like they was getting into the like, okay, this is who we are. We're about to show people who we are and what we're about. And I really, really love Mindless Behavior. I think that they're just so talented. And I understand, like, people, it's like, the thing that sometimes, well, it pisses me off that, like, people, they say they want talent, but it's like, they don't, it's like, they say they want talent, then when talent is there and when it's presented to them, they don't go out or support, or they don't even bother, or they like, well, you know, I've always said, when I said in my last video, you know, some people only want one artist to do the whole thing and everything else, but it's like, no, it should be more than one artist to really, like, you know, make a difference and change the world. So yeah, Mindless Behavior, they just was like slaying, and they just, you know, their fan base kept getting bigger and bigger, and I saw that Mindless Behavior fans, the more they was out there, their fan base kept growing. And by the time of the second album, that's where things was like, all right, this is about Mindless Behavior. They about to have a new direction. I really like Mindless Behavior's image for that All Around the World era. They were getting more mature, but they wasn't getting too far out there. They were still like catering to like their younger fans, and of course their fans was growing up with them. So their team, by the time they were like, what, 16, 15, still 16, 15, and I think 17 in that age bracket. So when All Around the World, when that era came out, they released that album back in 2013. And before the debut album, they released that in 2000 and I think it was 11. I think it was in 2011 when they released their debut album. So yeah, in 2013 they released the second album, All Around the World. And the first single, the jump start off that era, I don't know if y'all remember, Keep Her on the Low. Now, Keep Her on the Low is my favorite Mindless Behavior record. Like when Keep Her on the Low, when it first came out, I was like, okay, this is a new direction. And like I said, the record itself is so different from what's out now. I like how the production, and you had like more of it had more of a futuristic vibe, and I liked how, like, when the video came out, that was when I was like, whoa, this record is really dope. I like how they was more like spy suit, like spy gear, like it was more like Inspector Gadget, kind of gave you more like a undercover spy. They was like spies. It's like their whole era, like their whole like persona was like in like a, it just gave you like that undercover, like Kim Possible in a way. Like, remember y'all know the show Kim Possible? Yeah, it kind of gave me some reminiscence of that. Like Kim Possible, you know, she's like an undercover spy and she saves the world and that stuff like that. So it gave me that feeling. It was like, okay, Mindless Behavior. So the video itself, like, I love the dancing. You know, they was expressing themselves. They was getting more edgy. They was taking more risks. They was like, yo, you know, we about to turn up. We about to do, you know what? We about to do the thing. So it's like I really saw growth, and I saw that they was really serious about, like, you know, their work, and they was really serious about their craft. You know, so All Around the World, that era was like one of those eras that, okay, people was like saying, yeah, this is who Mindless Behavior is now. So they released let me see, that song, and they also released a song called All Around the World based on that title, and it was more, that record is more like pop, like mainstream pop, you know, dance, because at the time I remember people was liking that dance pop. So that dance pop era, it was like, okay, this is what's out now. So they tapped into that, and also they still kept their R&B roots. One and another favorite song I love is Used to Be. Used to Be is like one of my favorite R&B like records from Mindless Behavior, because I like how they, I mean, I like how they really tapped into like, you know, their vocals and harmonizing their, you know, singing abilities. Now I know, now I gotta keep it 100. Now I know people, you know, singing on a like on a track, on a record. Like, don't get me wrong. I think, cause see, I think they can sing, but, and I know like some of the records kind of sound like autotune a little bit. Like I know, like, cause I know for sure, because like certain records that, like, if you listen to a whole entire album of Mindless Behavior, you can really hear like the autotune production and stuff like that. And I know people, they don't like autotune singing. Like personally, it's okay autotune singing. Like, it depends on who you are as an artist. If you can do that autotune really well, then that's fine. Like, but if you know you can sing, then you need to use your vocals. Okay, I want to hear some Luther Vandross. I want to hear some Marvin Gaye. I want to hear some Michael Jackson. All of that. Okay, like I want to hear your vocals. But yeah, Mindless Behavior, that record used to be, they really tapped into like the R&B ballad, and they talked about, you know, going through a breakup like you used to be, you know. I done it. Well, I forgot the lyrics, but that's all right. I know they put out that record a while back. So yeah, if I can remember a lyric or two, I swear. I'm sorry, my brain just bear with me, because college has been on like my case for a couple weeks. It's almost like next week will be the last week of finals, so I'll be done. So bear with me, guys. But yeah, used to be, it's a record that, you know, let's just say you can relate to it, because let's just say you went through a breakup, and it's like, you know, you guys are no longer together and you're moving on, but you reminisce the times that you had, the times that y'all spent together, like the things that y'all used to do. And you know, so you, like, both of y'all are done, you moving on, that other person's moving on. So it's like, you used to be, you know, my Superman or my Superwoman, and you used to, like, we used to hang out, and you know, we used to like kick it and just, you know, have a good time. And then y'all are just, you know, y'all moved on, y'all went to y'all separate ways. So Mindless Behavior did show like maturity on that record. I mean, I would say the maturity level, but they wasn't trying to be too grown. But the lyrics and the content, I really love that record. Like, anybody, even a grown adult, can listen to that record. Like, oh, okay, I like that record. Like, the record itself, like I said, the lyrics and the content, there was no cursing. I think maybe one, but what's in a curse word? I ain't trying, like I said, I'm not trying to say, you know, the curse word. I'm trying to say like the whole record is like cursing, but I don't know, but the record is appropriate. Okay, if you listen to the record, it's appropriate, guys. So the record is appropriate. So yeah, the record itself, it showed like their level of maturity, and they wasn't trying to, you know, like, it's not like they were 16, they trying to sound like they 24. No, they really did do it. And I know this because their management and their team at the time did a great job in keeping them grounded and keeping them disciplined, you know. So they was like, you know, all right, we're mature, but we're still teenagers, so we're not going to go too far. And then, you know, after that, they had their All Around the World tour. I know they had that tour. And they also released a DVD called All Around the World. So Mindless Behavior fans, they had the opportunity to have like backstage passes to go like interact with them, and you know, they talked about the tour and their fans. So it was like really good to, you know, see that Mindless Behavior was getting ready to like really, like I said, slay the game. Like, they was just on their way, you know. And then, you know, unfortunately, you know what they say, some good things come to an end, but I really don't believe in that. I do believe there's a new chapter. Some things do come to an end, but listen, there'll always be something else for you. So yeah, And so Mindless Behavior, they had went their separate ways, and I started seeing like, what happened was, I think it was because of management and due to conflict. We don't, like I said, like, we don't know what actually happened behind the scenes, but I do know, like, Prodigy, he decided to leave and do a solo career, so he wanted to do that. And then it was Rock Royal, Ray Ray, and Princeton. And then EJ came along. And then meanwhile, Rock Royal, he was having some personal issues. I know, because I did do a little bit. I did do research on him too. And unfortunately, he had got caught up on the wrong side. Like, he got into, like, trouble. Like, I know, you know, he got into, like, you know, he just, and it was, like, unfortunate too about him, because it was almost like, you know, that's why it's important to, like, always stay grounded and just be yourself. But he got into, like, some issues in his personal life, which I'm not going to say anything, but I know, like, he went through some things, but he decided to leave and move on. So it was Ray J, EJ, and Princeton, and then they was, like, just trying to figure out what they were gonna do, and this, you know, whether or not they was gonna stay as a group, or and then stuff like that. And so it was like, what is Mindless Behavior gonna do now? It was like, okay, so what are they gonna do? You know, what is the plan? What they're gonna do? And then there's another group member, the newest group member I know, Mike. Now I don't know a whole bunch of information on Mike, but I know Mike right now, he's the newest group member, since there's 3 of them now, because recently, of course, Ray J, he left. He left earlier this year, so now it's the 3 of them. So now it's the original group member, Princeton. It's Princeton, it's EJ, and it's Mike. So yeah. So now it's just the 3 of them. So it's like, that's good that they're still keeping the Mindless Behavior movement alive, and they're going to really, really come through. And I do believe in them. I think that, you know, I know in life things happen, and, you know, you have to make adjustments, but that shouldn't hinder you from, you know, pursuing your goals. You know, if you got to make changes, like, okay, like, for example, like, you know, if you have a group of friends that you can't deal with no more because you're on a different page or you're on a different mindset, if you gotta let go, you know, a couple friends, let them go, cut them loose. I mean, there's no need for you to be carrying baggage because your mind is on a different level. And if you gotta make sure that you look out for you, I mean, of course you want to look out for everybody else, but you always want to put yourself first. So yeah, but anyway, it's like, now they're getting ready to release this 3rd album called Official MB Music, and so far it's so good. I'm very pleased with, you know, what they're presenting, because as I said earlier in the video, I said that they released I Want That. In the video, I like the dancing, they're mature, you know, of course, you know, they're expressing themselves, and they're more like, okay, you know, we're young men now, you know, we're growing up. So it's like Mindless Behavior, I think that, you know, they'll do great for themselves. And oh yeah, and I always, like I said, I know they released another record called Song Cry. Now Song Cry is really a dope record. I think Song Cry is like I said before, they really tackled on the maturity level, like as I said about Used to Be, because Used to Be is like that really like R&B, heavy R&B ballad, like mid-tempo jam. And Song Cry, it reminded me of that, like the production, the pattern, the lyrical, the content. So it's kind of like, yeah, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, if you can tackle on a record, on a topic, and you can tackle it and do it well, then like I said, you're on your way. So I hope Song Cry is on the new album too. So yeah, yeah. So far, like I said, they released "Song Cry" and they released "I Want That." So hopefully they will release more singles. And yeah. So I hope, and this is my constructive criticism, because like I said, I always will always in my videos I will have constructive criticism. I will say, well, what the artist should do, what should they do better next time. So I think the thing, and see, since Mindless Behavior they took a break and it's been a while, it's like now I want to see more like growth. And also I understand like that single "I Want That" is more like a urban record, like you can hear at the club, or you can be, dancing to it while you're at the house and stuff. So I understand why they released that single, because I do understand like why artists release certain singles, because I've kept up with music and I've kept up with the industry and I've kept up with the politics, because I know how it goes. Like, you want to release a single that's going to capture the audience attention. So since Mindless Behavior they took a long ass break, it's been a while, they had to release something that's out now, right? What's playing out right now on the radio, which I understand that from that perspective. So I Want That is like a club banger. It's like that, like, okay, let's get together, have fun and party, and do our thing, just party, and yeah, I really like the record. I do like the production of it. The production is really like something, like I said, like it's like that heavy, like that bass. It's like that hardcore, raw, gritty, all of that. And so that's why they released that record, because like I said, of course, obviously they got to connect to the audience right now. And also for the new album, I want them to talk about, well, hopefully they'll talk about like their experiences in life, their ups and downs. They can talk about that in this new record, like what's been going on in their minds while they was like creating the record. What were they going through in their personal lives while they were creating the record? Like, did something happen in their personal lives that they can explain on the record? Because I also love when an artist tells their story, and I also love when an artist, they talk about the experiences they went through. So when the consumer buys and hears it, they be like, wow, yo, I went through the same thing. Like, oh, I can relate to this because this person went through this too. Like, oh, So I want the storytelling. I want like more of that, because nowadays artists, they lack. It's like everything is the same old. It's like you got some artists, they stay in one box, and I don't like that. And then it's almost like with some people be like, well, I mean, it's okay for them. I mean, don't get me wrong, you don't want to stay in one box, but you want to like cover everything. You don't want to be talking. Okay, for example, like you got some of these rappers, and I'm a huge like hip hop like fan. Like, I grew up with rap. I grew up with all kinds of rap artists, but it's like, these rappers nowadays, some of them, not all of them, because all of them are not the same, they're different, but mainstream is playing more of like that trap sound, and of course they're gonna play more of like, oh, clubbing and partying and the girls and the cars and I got the money and all of that. So I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, it's okay to talk about that, but it's almost like you're doing yourself a disservice when you talk about that all the time, 24/7, and it's irritating. And it irritates me when I hear stuff like that. It's like, I've heard it before. Like, I've heard it all before. You know what I'm saying? If I want to listen to that, I can listen to a certain artist that I can, listen to. But it's like when you say that over and over and over, it gets redundant. It's just not interesting. It's like what else can you talk about? So with Mindless Behavior, and then I saw some of the fan video reactions. They was like, oh, but they talking about partying and that, and they was like, of course, as a fan, you are like concerned because you actually care about your favorite artist. Like, you're gonna, be like, okay, well, I hope they don't talk about that throughout the whole record. Which, for example, in this case, like, yeah, I hope that Mindless Behavior, they have some party songs, but they have like personal songs such as like Song Cry. They can, you know, be able to like really have a versatile album. So yeah, I think Mindless Behavior, you know, they really, you know, they coming back, they swinging. I think that they're really on a roll. I think they'll be able to like make it up for their fans. And also, my other constructive criticism is that, you know, I think in Mindless Behavior, I hopefully they tour. I wouldn't mind seeing Mindless Behavior on tour. I've never been to a Mindless Behavior concert. I saw like their All Around the World concert on DVD. But yeah, I think around time when the album comes out, and here's my advice. By the time an album, I hope that they promote this album, because I'm also worried about that, because of course they took a while, like they took a long break. It's been a minute since they released the music. So they need to heavily promote this album. They need to like get on the ball going, because you want people to know that you have an album out. You want people to know that you want them to buy your record. Of course, that's your goal. You want people to buy your record. You want people to go out and spend their money and buy your record. So it's like I see that they're excited, you know, putting out this album, and they're very excited. I know they put in a lot of hard work and dedication, and I respect them for that. My thing is, you gotta be able to, like I said, keep promoting, because nowadays you got some artists, they have an album out, they just release an album and they don't promote it as much, and then like I said, people forget, or people don't even know they have an album out, so they have to like promote it. So Mindless Behavior, you guys, you know, y'all doing y'all thing. I'm proud of you guys. You know, I really like what I'm seeing now, but like I said, guys, promote the album. Make sure Mindless Behavior fans know that the album is out. Make sure that, you know, you keep in that momentum going. You keep being consistent. And also, when you guys tour, whenever, I understand, like, I don't know when y'all are gonna tour. I don't know when is it, but I know when you guys do tour, make sure, like I said, people know y'all coming through. So hopefully you guys tour and promote this album. Hopefully we get more singles too, since y'all coming back. Since y'all, well, actually, I don't like saying coming back. Y'all are back. So y'all are back. So let's get straight to the point. So yes, you guys are back. And as I said, as a Mindless Behavior fan, I've been a fan of you guys since day one. Princeton, you know, I'm proud of you. EJ, I'm proud of you. And Mike, I am proud of you. And yeah, you know, that's all I wanted to say. I think that yeah, they're on their way. So yes, yeah, so let me know your thoughts, your opinions, your perspectives, your ideas. Let me know, you know, what do you think of Mindless Behavior? You know, are you excited for their new music? What are your thoughts? And subscribe to my channel. Okay, y'all, I gotta go. All right, talk to you later. All right.